What's up, everybody? 2 days left. Slugfest Wizard here. 2 days left until UFC 135, Johnny Bones Jones versus Quinton Rampage Jackson. Thought I'd get my predictions out there, my thoughts about it, and what I think is going to go down. Let's talk about it. Alright, some things have been happening around here. I might have an opportunity for another photography agency, Portrait Innovations, interview tomorrow, all that stuff. Still haven't heard from Verizon, but things are going well. They're looking up, you know. Anyway, let's get right down to it. At the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado, the Ultimate Fighting Championship is going to put on Jon Jones versus Quinton Rampage Jackson, UFC 135. And, alright, from the top, the new light heavyweight champion of the world, Jon Jones. No longer is Jon Jones the, the flashy, unorthodox, talked about rookie. No longer is he the promising prospect, the contender. Now he is the champion. A while back, he fought Mauricio Shogun Rua, the former champ. And I picked Shogun, the only man to knock out Lyoto Machida, to win that fight. But lo and behold, Jon Jones got it done and thrashed Shogun en route to a third-round stoppage back at UFC 128, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And this is undoubtedly going to be his biggest test, because I am still of the opinion that Jon Jones did not beat the best Shogun. Shogun was still, going into that fight, a year layoff, a knee surgery. It may not have been in the best shape. He was telegraphing a lot of his strikes. He wasn't like that against Machida both times he fought him, or against Liddell. Quinton Rampage Jackson, ever since you guys all know Rampage. We all know who he is. The UFC loves him. He's got fans. He's got the personality, the entertaining flair, all that stuff. I don't think he's going to win against Jon Jones. And here's why. Rampage has been doing pretty okay. He showed up, knocked out Chuck Liddell in just a couple punches in round one, took away his belt. That's cool. He won a decision over Dan Henderson, the only time he defended the belt. Then he, lost to Forrest Griffin in a fight in which he didn't come prepared. Hold on. And, he knocked out Vanderlei Silva, but we know where Vanderlei Silva's chin is nowadays. Then he left the UFC for a while, came back, lost a decision to Rashad Evans. But the reality is that Quinton Rampage Jackson, ever since his knockout over Vanderlei Silva, has been very decision-friendly. His wins over Keith Jardine, which I still think Rampage should have been able to destroy Keith Jardine in one round, because his chin isn't what it used to be. But he was just fine with going to decisions over Keith Jardine, Lyoto Machida in a split decision, in which I still think Rampage lost that one. He was just barely able to get a win somehow. And then he won a decision over Matt Hamill. And we all saw what Jon Jones did to Matt Hamill. See, Rampage Jackson, he's got the power, and he certainly can win this fight against Jon Jones. But we still don't know how Jon Jones does off of his back. We don't know what he does when he gets hit, because I think Rampage will connect with a strike. And if he does, Rampage very well can win. And to be honest, if Rampage does win this fight over Jon Jones, I won't be too upset about that, because there's a few things that Jon Jones has been doing that I'm not a fan of, even though I am a fan of Jon Jones. Excuse me. And, things like he was kicking Shogun in his bad knee in his last fight. And he was signing autographs as future champion, Jon Jones, 2011. And, that could be confidence, but it also could be cockiness, so just take that for what you think it is. He also picked Dominic Cruz to defeat his teammate Uriah Faber, and he just sounds kind of pretentious sometimes, but Jones has admitted that he's trying to clean up his act and be more professional, all that stuff. So what I think is going to happen in this fight, I see Jon Jones going out there and confusing Rampage Jackson, avoiding the telegraphing strikes that Quinton usually throws. Usually he'll just go out there and he'll throw like one left, one right, and he'll show okay head movement, but I think Jon Jones will bust Rampage up with strikes on the feet, with leg kicks especially, because Rampage doesn't check those. I think he'll hurt Rampage in the clinch, all that stuff. I think he'll do basically whatever he wants to do, and I see Jon Jones finishing Rampage late round 3 with a guillotine choke. I'm going to pick him by submission. But I don't think Rampage is going to tap. I think he's going to pass out. Technical submission, Jon Jones, round 3. So, Jones, do your thing, man. Next fight. Matt Hughes versus Josh Koscheck. Oh. Diego Sanchez is out, and Josh Koscheck is in since the nerve damage and the broken orbital bone he suffered against George St. Pierre is finally healed right now, so that's good. And he should be looking for some redemption, and he's fighting one of my favorite fighters, Matt Hughes. Long story short, this is a very tough matchup for Matt Hughes to win. I really hope he does win, because, he's got the most, he does have more wins than any other UFC fighter. He has one of the longer title reigns, not the longest. He's got 7 title defenses, 5 consecutive title defenses. He's defeated all the welterweight champions except for Pat Miletich, but he's not going to fight him anyway, because they're, a pupil and mentor. Hall of Famer, Matt Hughes has left his mark in MMA. No one's debating that. I really hope Matt Hughes gets it done and surprises Josh Koscheck with something, or puts him away like he did against Ricardo Almeida. But Josh Koscheck is the much better striker. He's the much more seasoned wrestler right now, and I've got to pick Josh Koscheck winning this fight by a TKO due to strikes in the second round, or taking a very decisive, unanimous decision. That's what I see happening. But Hughes is very difficult to finish, though, especially by Josh Koscheck. Even though Hughes was knocked out in 21 seconds by BJ Penn in their third fight. Our next fight, Travis Browne versus Rob Broden. Probably not spelling that right. Anyway, Broden. He's Robert Broden. He's from England, freestyle wrestler, submission grappler, trains at the Wolf's Lair MMA Academy. It's good. He has a professional record of 15 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. Did get a win over Vinicius Quirios at UFC 120. And he's fighting undefeated Travis Browne, who's had experience in boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, coming out of San Diego, California. Travis Browne looked shaky in his fight against Chet Congo, but then he came back and completely destroyed Stefan Struve with a Superman punch from hell in his last fight. I think this will, if Rob Broden gets this fight to the ground, he very well could take a unanimous decision, but every fight starts on his feet, and I'm going to pick Travis Browne to win this fight by knockout or TKO late first round or early second round, or to also take a decision, because he's the better striker. Now, Nate Diaz versus Takanori Gomi, in a fight in which, a lot of people are saying could win fight of the night, and I'm in agreement with that too. Nate Diaz coming off back-to-back losses, he could really use a win right now. Brother of Nick Diaz. But yeah, Nate, this is a really tough fight to call in the end. Nate Diaz, I think, is the slightly better striker today, because Takanori Gomi isn't quite the fighter he used to be. Takanori Gomi came to the UFC, he did his thing in Pride, came to the UFC, got choked out by Kenny Florian, then he really surprisingly knocked out Tyson Griffin. I don't think anybody picked Takanori Gomi to win that one. And then I picked him to lose against Clay Guida, and then he lost against Clay Guida. Got guillotine choked by him. Takanori Gomi very well can win this fight just due to his wrestling, because Nate Diaz's defensive wrestling sucks, or isn't very good. We saw what Rory McDonald did to him. By the way, guys, keep an eye on Rory McDonald. I'm just saying. But what I think is going to happen in this fight is that Nate Diaz will take a very close split decision victory and use his kind of weird looping boxing and his submission attempts and sweeps to, you know, just get it done against Gomi. Although I really hope Takanori Gomi wins. Anyway, next fight, Mark Hunt versus Ben Rothwell. Mark Hunt finally got a win over Brock Lesnar's training partner, Chris Terscherer. Mark Hunt is a longtime MMA veteran. He used to be a bouncer or a security guard in New Zealand, and then he okay, we got some time. Yeah. And then, he came to Pride, got a few decent wins over Tsuyoshi Kosaka, Crow Cop Emmanuel Silva, and Dan Bobish. Then he went on like a 6-fight losing streak. 6, yeah. Got his arm twisted by Sean McCorkle, and then he came back and knocked out Chris Terscherer, one knockout of the night at UFC 127. That's not bad. But I've got to go. I hope Mark Hunt wins, but I'm going to pick Ben Rothwell. Ben Rothwell is the much better grappler, and I think he hits a little bit harder too. He's had slightly more experience, and even though he's only showed up in the UFC twice, his loss to Cain Velasquez being the first one, and his win over Gilbert Ivel being the second one. Now for the rest of the card, I'm going to make this quick, because due to time constraints. I'm going to pick Aaron Riley over Tony Ferguson, because lately the Ultimate Fighter winners have been running into some bad luck, so yeah. I'm going to pick Nick Ring to defeat Tim Boetsch, although Tim Boetsch, he very well could grapple his way to a victory in that one. I'm going to pick Junior Asunkau over Eddie Yagin, Takeo Misagaki over Cole Escovedo, and James Tahuna over Ricardo Romero. But if Ricardo Romero wins that one, I won't be too surprised. So, Jake Ellenberger, great job, man. I knew you could do it. I was one of the guys that picked the underdog, Ellenberger, to beat Jake Shields, although I did not predict Jake Ellenberger to defeat Jake Shields in just 53 seconds of the first round. That's crazy. But as for Jake Shields, that's a really tough loss. And I hope he gets things together. Because the UFC, they invested a lot of money into him. They're investing a lot of time into him too, so. After this, we got Cruz versus Johnson. Keep it real, guys. This world is built on love and peace.